As again, we'll be starting off for map number 1. We do have a cinematic camera in place. Mr. Oldal, if you're still with us, give us your side bet for map number 1 as we wind ourselves down in the warm-up.
Let's go with the Miracle. Let's go with Massa.
Oh, we're going for Massa. The Miracle Man himself did actually perform very well on this map last time. I'm going to go for last week's winner, if I remember correctly. That was Orel from Gaming Priv, of course. Again, 2 players up at the top. Massa did make a mistake later on, if I remember correctly. And also Orel did perform very well and did win the map, if I'm not mistaken. So, definitely the 2 front runners going into this, but we'll check out Riolu as he takes us through this identity. So, do a little brake check and you jump down onto this, turn yourself around, same again, and we'll be seeing what the players go for. So, Riolu going for the different strat, jumping through and going the alternate route. Now, the problem with this way is you drop a lot of speed there, and trying to jump back onto the road there, all the way up there, can cause you some difficulty. But we are starting off step 1. We are starting off with Massa here. Of course, we are hoping that he can pull off the miracle. Mr. Holdal's certainly hoping he can win this map. And a reminder, 100 euros goes to whoever wins each of the maps up for grabs. So that's 600 euros on the table here for whoever is lucky enough to claim each of the individual wins. But starting off a bit poorly here is Massa. Looks as if he dropped some speed on the exit of the snow section. And we do have Papou extending into a strong lead. I'm expecting the players to be a bit more well versed on these maps. I'm expecting the players to know exactly what they're going to be doing in the ending, know what ways are fastest, know what ways are most consistent. But early on here, the 2 which were battling last week, Massa finding himself in 9th position here, and Orel finding himself in 3rd. Orel, one of the players I would say is known for his consistency. We'll switch back over. Thank you very much for reminding me, Bass. And we do find ourselves in 5th position with Orel, with a very, very tight pack coming through here. And we do have a lead group here of Spam, Pack, Papou, and also Tween going for a really long jump there, but you can see loses a little bit of speed, but going through some tight turns. Now, we're going to check in with Pack here. Is the Molotovs and Marshmallow Man going to be able to net himself a spot for Lyon? Oh, gets a very bad transition there as he comes back down onto the 2nd ramp. Also has some issues going through there. Goes for which seems to be the safer route almost. And, oh, loses a lot of time there. You can see Orel, Scrappy, Massa and Spam going for the alternate route, and Pack only just makes it across safely. But we look down and we see Rollin backflipping. He's stunting and he lands upside down. Is he going to land on his feet? He does. The tricksters from Rollin. That probably netted him about 900 points, I'm reckoning, at the very least in stunt mode. But we are not in stunt mode, unfortunately. We do also see Papou having made some sort of blunder, going from around the battle for first to last, and we're seeing quite a big gap here. You're seeing here a lot of players are 3 seconds behind, and we're seeing 2 mistakes coming out here. That was Matt and that was Cocow, if I remember correctly. A lot of blunders happening, and this isn't the track, it must be said. This is not the hardest track. You see here Revolution kind of bridging the gap here. We've got Pack behind, about 7/10 of a second behind, and we've got Tween in front, about 7/10 of a second in front. But we'll move up to our top pack here. We do have Massa following up with Spam here, of course, former teammates and very close friends, but no love lost in this matchup, I am sure. Almost identical lines going through here as they are in the hunt of the French-speaking duo of Scrappy and Orel. At the moment, you can see the different lines being opted for the players, trying to get themselves down smoothly onto these little ramps, and all of them going for the drift. And you can see here, getting the little jump. Oh, Massa makes it a little bit rough, but he looks like he'll have enough speed. He does, but gets a little bit of a slowdown, as he was just a little bit too close, didn't have as much speed as he would have liked. We do also see that Tween's dropped down, and you see here this, but oh, and I have no idea what happened to Revolution there. Big slowdown, and Pack and Tween are actually catching up and overtaking Massa and Revolution. And Riolu also getting himself in the mix, and the 3 Germans fighting against each other here. And an interesting fact, none of these Germans, of which are currently on track, actually managed to successfully qualify to the beta season. Of course, Massa did eventually get in through the last chance qualifier. Riolu opted to cast, and Revolution, if I remember correctly, did not attempt to participate. But they are hunting down Pack and Tween. Of course, for these players specifically, Massa, Revolution and Pack here, they're going to be looking for some big points on the board here. So it's very important that they build themselves up a good points lead early on, because if they lose their points in the last 3 maps, they are pretty much doomed. However, Pack makes the mistake. That's going to drop him a lot of speed. You're going to see Papou overtaking, Cocow overtaking, and even Kappa getting a little bit closer up here. But you check out here as we go through the identity once again. Let's check out our free cam here. As you see here, Aurel, Scrappy making the mistake, Tween opting for the different route, Relo having some issues, and you can see there how much time Revolution and Massa gain, especially with Relo making another mistake there, and that's going to let Pack catch up, and Cocow and Kappa overtaking once again. We're getting the highlighted messages in the chat, and in the chat. I'm sorry guys, I'm truly sorry about that. In the chat, we got it right eventually, but Pack and Cocow battling up here, but we're going to go a little bit closer up to the top here. We're going to follow Tween, who's been silently kind of plugging away here after making the mistake early on. We do currently see that Scrappy, who is currently battling with Tween here at the moment, is on the fastest lap here at the moment. Now, the fastest lap will net you an extra 2 points on the board at the very least, so that will be important if Scrappy is not feeling comfortable chasing for positions, just going for the fastest lap. But that will only net himself 2 points. However, Tween going for a long slide here. And the cat, exactly guys, that's what we meant to say. We're revolutionising Twitch terms here. You heard it here first guys. Scottie's got it going for you guys, don't you worry. You see here Aurel, going to take a little bit of a look as to how Aurel does it here. You can see he's opting to land with his back wheels first of all, and it looks as if he's kind of adjusting his angle so that he is having his little kind of sway in his car, so that he's less likely to make the mistake. Aurel though, a 3.5 second lead here. Ooh, it seems Scrappy's made another mistake here, so you see he falls behind Papou and Massa here. We are on the penultimate lap here, and we do also see some big mistakes being made by the likes of Kappa and Pack here. However, they are getting themselves back in the fight here, and you saw Scrappy and Papou there gaining a lot of speed there, overtaking Massa, but this is a very close battle between all of them, and actually Pack trying to get himself involved here as well. We're getting the cinematic camera here from Pack chasing down these 3 players, and also Spam getting that little bit closer to Tween here up at the top. Third place chasing down into second. This is going to decide your podium places here at the moment, and what order they're going to be in. But Tween, a little bit too close to the outside there. He's going to make the mistake, and that's going to drop him a lot of time. He's not going to get that smoothly. Is that going to open up an opportunity for Papou here? Is he going to spear the competition? He's gained a lot of speed going through here, but little slides you have to do, so that'll allow Tween some breathing room. But certainly Papou is the last person who has breathing room at the moment. He has 3 breathing down his neck here. Massa, Scrappy and Pack, some of the strongest players in Trackmania's history here, and that is a crowd you certainly want to be part of at the very least. You're netting some good points on all of these players, but they'll be looking for more. Pack goes for the different line, as does Tween. We'll see here Scrappy and Massa at the very least overtaking Pack here at the moment and catching Tween. Papou here, he looks to have gone for the different approach and also looking to have some issues early on. So coming into the last lap here, Papou, the demon of dirt here. And watch this, so he's going to go opt for no sliding going through the snow, and that means he will gain a little bit of time. You can see he gets a little bit closer to Pack. We got there eventually. Tween still holding on to third place. Up here at the top we have Massa getting out a little bit of a gap there, but you saw he went too close to the left there. He loses some speed. That brings Scrappy pretty much inside Pack. They're side by side here at the moment. They can't collide with each other, of course, but if they did, we would be having wrecks all over the place, left, right and centre here. But we are 0.2 of a second separating 4 players here at the moment, and it's all going to come down into this last section and this last attempt at the identity, and Tween is not safe here either. He needs to keep his head here. He is half a second ahead of this group here, and one mistake will be the death knell for Tween in map number 1, and Massa falls behind a little bit here. We're going into the identity for the final time. Scrappy having a bit of an issue going through the transition, and Tween flips. Tween loses all of his positions, and he's behind this big group, and they're all going to jump into the finish. Tween falls from 3rd place all the way down into 7th. Aurel takes the win for this map, but the €100 all go the way of Aurel for the second time in a row. Spam manages to get second here, but look how close that gap is. Less than a second between Pack, Scrappy, Massa, Papou, Tween. Riolun following up relatively close behind as well. We do have Bren in 9th position. Kappa also battling close for that 9th position, but finds himself in 10th. Revo 11th, Matt 12th, Cocow 13th, and Rollin 14th. So we can take a breather. Map number 1's gone, and we need to check in if we've got our whole dial here. Do we still have him present?
I'm somewhat here.
So what did you think? Map number 1. I'm seeing a lot of these players we're talking about.
Before Pack is alive, so Pack is number 3. Pack is starting to get these big points. And as I mentioned in chat, now it's easier for Massa. 14 players instead of 16 players, and it's easier to keep them. So the dream is still alive for at least those 2.
Yeah, at the very least, I'm seeing, of course, Revolution, Cocow, and Rollin. Some very important figures there, not getting a lot of points, but also 2 who are, I would believe, the most important people is Bren and Kappa, not netting a lot of points there. So Bren finding himself the closest up here in 9th, and Kappa's definitely not in a safe zone here in 120 points. So if 2 people manage to get a good load of points here, so we're talking, say, Bren and Pack, for example, then that does put Kappa in the danger zone. But moving on to map number 2, who are you thinking?
You asked me for a side bet?
Side bets, of course.
Of course. Let's go with the dream. Let's go with the...
Oh, we're going for Pack. I'm going to switch my pick up here. I'm going to go for Massa. He did look relatively decent on the Zeppelin map until a late mistake cost him, and he did end up losing a very large majority of his points here. So definitely some issues here for Massa, but definitely perhaps got some confidence from this map as well, as he has performed very well on it before. But side bets in the chat, guys. Let us know who you're thinking. I'm seeing Bren in the chat. It's from our betting expert Storvix here. But Storvix, I believe you forgot to tell us who your overall side bet is so that we can size up. But here at the moment, Zeppelin is besides your side bet of Pack here. We saw this map really was very cutthroat, I would say would be the best word to use. In the Open Grand League, we saw Gwen having many issues here, and we've seen it claiming numerous lives here, so to speak, in the Trackmania Grand League. So definitely I'd say one of the most exciting maps, but also one of the most controversial. But I'm thinking some hearts are going to be broken in this one, but luckily no points lost today. So map number 2, going through the identity. We'll get ourselves a lovely cinematic camera on the identity here. I'm pretty sure that can zoom in that far. And we'll get ourselves up here and nice. There we go. Cinematic camera. We're going to start off with our man Massa and side bet Zeppelin. That's what I'd agree with that. There we go. We got our man back. So Massa starting us off on map number 2, which will be Zeppelin, of course. I believe it's built by MD Point. Starting off strong here is Massa. We did see Massa having a very strong pace on this map. It just seemed to be some other points were letting him down. At least his entry to the Zeppelin cost him a lot of points, certainly last week. I believe he built up around 40 or 50 points. But all of the points are only the ones that matter, which you get in this step. So definitely looking to see who will be getting some a big head of steam here, as we see Aurel already in 20 points. Looking to secure himself from danger here, and he's certainly in a good position to be doing so. Matt did net the fastest lap, at least the previous time around, so he does get himself 6 points here. Matt's having some issues in the later section of this track, but we are going to be going into the identity for the first time, and we're going to go with the point of view from Tween, who is currently in first position here at the moment. Again, no points lost for map number 2. Points lost is only for the final 3 maps. So, of course, you do the jump onto the Zeppelin here, and you need to rotate your car, get off the Zeppelin, go through the checkpoint either side, left or right, fly through this checkpoint in the middle. You see Revolution going the other way because he likes to be, likes to be different like that. Jump back onto the Zeppelin. That can be quite difficult. Getting your car onto the Zeppelin. We've got Cat and we've got Zeppelin, guys, but Tween starting us off very strongly here, half a second up in the lead here, and we're already seeing big blunders by Rollin and by Cocow here. As Mr. Oldal says, it looks as if their minds are already in the combine, perhaps thinking long term and perhaps trying to reserve their motivation, trying to reserve their energy for some tough tests they will have ahead. But Papou also having some trouble here, but Papou is safe in first position, pretty much assured. Doesn't look to be anyone can even come close to Papou, so but he still has the winner's mentality. Of course, he's still going to be trying in these steps, trying to throw a spanner into the works of some of the other players who are desperately looking for points here. Going for the wall bang on the uphill of the dirt, and you can see that really benefits him. Manages to catch up to Spam, but bites off a little bit too much, more than he can chew there, and falls down. Real loot. Also having some issues here, but we're going to go back up to this main group here. What a main group. We've got 8 players contending for the podium spots here. We've got Spam, Kappa, Pack, Aurel, Scrappy, Revel, Bren and Massa here. You can see there Revel going for the different approach there. We're going to check him out when he does that next time. Kappa has a very awkward angle there, and I thought I saw someone make a mistake perhaps. Kappa does manage to make it back, and he makes it back on without that much of an issue. And I got confused there as I saw people going many different directions there. But it is a reuse, of course. We are going the same way forward and the same way back. That'll explain why you do see players going different ways and such. Papou unfortunately drops a bit further behind, but we're up to Bren here. Second position, hunting down Tween here at the moment. Oh, don't worry, we've got a camera angle coming in, Holby. You know we've got the production value here. 10 out of 10, of course, if I do say so humbly myself. But anyway, battle for third and fourth, and you can hear the car sounds behind. Look how close this group is, of course. Scrappy, Massa, Matt, Aurel and Revolution also getting himself involved here, but Matt goes for the wall bang and makes the mistake. It's a bit of a risky technique. And my words all mixed up today, but regardless, Scrappy and Massa battling very closely here, and we're going to get up to the identity for the next time here. I'm going to check out, so see Tween popping up through here, and there he is, the man himself. For some reason my names are off, and there we go. And you see Revolution going for the different approach there. He goes up the right hand side, and you can see there everyone needs to jump all the way through, and now they're on the way back. Tween does not have a name for some reason, and everyone else, Revolution the only one opting for that route, no one making any big mistakes here. You can see Matt trying to play the catch up game at the very least, but now we go back to check out. Oh, and there we go. So Tween once again, that's 3 times in a row. He has got the fastest lap time and time again. So lap number 1, 2 and 3 he was the fastest. Really putting on the afterburners here. Tween is wanting 100 euros from this map, of course. But let's check back in with our big group we saw earlier. It looks as if Revel's the one at the bottom of it at the very least. Revolution finding himself 2.5 seconds behind first place here. There's a bit of a gap further back. We see Spam having made a little bit of a mistake early on. Get ourselves a little bit closer here. Move up. We see Aurel has just overtaken Kappa as we look back onto the screen there. We see Massa and Scrappy having this massive battle here throughout the last lap and also coming up to this point. So we're going to check them out for a little bit. I was hoping Massa can net some good points here from this map. I'd imagine as the points are safe here on this map, we're expecting that there will be a little bit less nerves going into the identity here, as we saw a lot of players choking in the last lap, which seemed to be the main problem. But Massa going through, managing to keep a little bit of a lead over Scrappy here at the moment, and gets a better jump. In fact, does not get a better jump there. Scrappy must have went a lot lower there, and also jumps a little bit higher off of the Zeppelin, so that'll allow Massa the chance to recover. And you can see they're side by side once again, and now it's Papou's turn to take the fastest lap here with a 1:23.3. Again, that's what's important, is even if you're very far behind, you want to be getting the fastest lap so that you can compete for that extra 2 points. Any points you can get are important, of course. This is the final steps. All of these points are going to be vital that the players are getting. We're going to check this out from Scrappy's perspective here as he's hunting down Massa. He's only just a hair's breadth behind, but fighting and fighting hard, but hitting the wall hard as Massa here as he drops down, and he is leaking positions here. You see here Kappa and Aurel here overtaking and getting themselves ahead. So that is down to 6th position for Massa. Perhaps he's also looking to perhaps get a fastest lap out of this then. Kappa and Aurel battling very closely here. There seems to be so many battles here between 2 or more players which are really close together. Seems to be Aurel got a little bit of a bump beforehand there. That'll affect his speed going through this section. And let's check his approach to this jump. You can see he jumps a little bit lower than Kappa. That means he's going to land earlier than Kappa would. Gets himself a little bit closer. A little bit awkward coming off of the Zeppelin there. They go for the large jump just to make sure that they have every chance of getting all 4 wheels on the ground instead of flipping into, I don't know, eternity or something. Bren up in second place here at the moment. He is drawing a little bit closer to Tween here at the moment. And this is going to be important for Bren. As we said, Bren is on the verge of actually qualifying to Lyon here. Rel looks as if he's dropping a little bit back here. We're going to check in with Bren here as he tries to hunt down Tween. Tween, though, one of the coolest heads in the game. Very, very experienced player, however, goes for the wall bang. Does Bren, cuts the distance in half between the two of them, and now anything can happen going into this final section. 0.3 of a second between the two of them. Tween goes for a really wide line. Maximises speed, but also maximises distance. Bit of a different line being taken from Tween. However, it looks as if Bren has more speed going through this section, but you need to drift a little bit anyway. A fast lap here are both of the two players. Oh, Bren goes for a really, really high jump there. A really high entry, sorry, to that section. But Tween, as long as he gets back on his Zeppelin, no problem here. It should be fine for him. Oh, he doesn't slip off, but he nearly did. Tween gets himself the first place, and Bren as well. We have Spam falling up. We have Massa, who's fallen. Papou, Revolution, and Scrappy. Those big position changes in there at the end. Kappa was the one we missed. Riolu also getting himself in there in 11th position, so a bit of a hard one there for Riolu. Matt also losing a lot of potential points there. 12th position, sorry, for Matt. Rollin just coming onto the identity for the next time there. Cocow will not even finish, and it doesn't look as if Rollin will finish either, unfortunately for him. Papou coming in for the fastest lap there, and 7th position there. Aurel will be your top in points overall, though. Closely followed by Tween and Spam also. But we're looking for our big points here from our players who are in danger. And let's take a look here once it calculates everyone. So I'm seeing Pack performing well. Spam also. Bren. Massa. We're seeing a lot of kind of ups and downs here going through this, but we're already see Pack moving into 10th position. Revolution moving up a little bit, but I'm seeing Massa, Matt, and Cocow staying there. But what did you think of round or map number 2, Mr. Holdall?
Well, now, like I said in the chat, Bren and before, and now it's starting to get really close. Spam still leading this step over him, but imagine if Bren just gets these points and Spam loses them on map 6.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Like
there is only...
Pack is back.
Yeah, exactly. There is only 10 points between them, so, I mean, there really is anything that can happen here. And all it will take, I believe, of course, it will come down into the free danger zone map, so to speak. But any surprises for you at the start of this step so far?
No, just surprised that once again we see Cocow and Rollin being, well, more or less outed before the match even.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, there's of course going to be something which is playing into that again. Perhaps the players have not had as much time or motivation to be playing these week's maps, as they are better players than what they're displaying here at the moment. But I'm not in their head. I don't know what's happening, so I'm not going to pretend I do, of course. But side bets. I know you guys in the chat were waiting for it. I'm going to go first. I'm going to at least give you the chance to react to my pick instead of the other way around. This time, this is a precision based map. I'm going to say Kappa. I'm going to go for Kappa here. Who are you thinking?
Go for Papou.
Papou, Goldberg himself, of course, the current number 1 in points here at the moment. We've got a lot of side bets of Papou here in the chat. We don't have Storvix currently coming in with his bet. He's probably smurfing just to make sure he doesn't eventually actually replace us in the cast. I'm sure Big have got their eyes on Storvix as a potential replacement for the dynamic duos. Our track record with side bets, at least it isn't too great, and once again our side bets from a few turns ago, MarciN and CarlJr, are not present. I think that was our fault, to be honest, but moving on to map number 3, Free Spirit. Let's see who is going to be the Free Spirit here, of course. This is another community-made map here. We're going to check back in with our man Massa here, who sits on 15 points here at the moment. A lot of difficulty it's going to have for him to get himself into the spots for Lyon, but again, until it's mathematically impossible, anything can happen. We've seen that in Grand League, of course. We've seen people net amazing amounts of points. We've seen people lose amazing amounts of points. So, Relu going for a little side ramp there in the warm-up, at the very least, maybe checking out some sort of risk strategy, going for €100 potentially in his head there. But Massa starting off strong there, but was a little bit too close to the left-hand side wall. But as he was turning, still after that, you can see he didn't lose that much time. So good news for big fans. Massa's still in the race, still in the fight, of course. Again, this is the last of the free maps, so to speak. The last of the maps where the players will not lose points. You can see there are different approaches here. You can go for the drift, which is a little bit faster, but it's also riskier. See what the players opt for. And the slides you go through there, you do have to initiate a neo slide to get the left-hand side drift. Some players opt for it, some players don't. See here, Massa and Relu up at the top, the two Germans fighting it out. We see Bren having a lot of issues here. Looks as if he's the first one to fail the identity, but he will have a few spots, no doubt, that he can pick back up. But we see a battle here between Relu, Massa and Tween here. Tween on fire on this step so far. Always seems to be near the top, it must be said. But that's something to expect from Tween, who is the player who has the reputation for always putting in the hours. One of the hardest working players at the very least in Trackmania, of course, representing Pittsburgh Knights. And these players hopefully will all have their talents on display at Lyon Esports coming up later this month, actually. So something definitely to look forward to for the players. Some of these players you will be able to see on stage if you do get yourselves over to Lyon. Otherwise, you'll be able to see it on one of the few streams of which will be broadcast. But there's a little bit of an issue going through that kind of snow dirt transition. Kappa catching up. Former teammates, of course, in Sampe and Asuba were Tween and Kappa. Kappa opting for the respawn route, and you can see there Tween manages to get his head in front as a result. And Spam also getting himself in this battle here. No big mistakes going through the identity. Orel, however, manages to gain some positions here at the moment. Apologies for the Steam notification. Shut that down. But Spam finding himself in 6th place is very important for his battle with Bren, but one of the other players we do find having a problem with the identity is actually Scrappy. He finds himself 13th position. Scrappy is one of the players who's closest to being safe here at the moment. And Papou, of course, safe as well, but one of the other important players, Pack, finding himself in 9th position here. That's not a lot of points going to be going his way, and it looks as if he's struggling on this map. I miss the old Steam notification noise. Feels bad, man. Pack at the moment finds himself 10th on 70 points, and that's taken into account he's 20 points from the rest of this step. Is 4th in the current step ranking, but he needs more. He always needs more to be comfortable here. He needs to be taking the initiative, like Massa here, up in 2nd position here at the moment. Fighting against Relu. Massa does need more points than Pack, however, so he needs to go for it. He does not have an option. It is all or nothing. It is the definition of Hail Mary for Massa. But is there a better man to step up to the challenge when all the bets are on the table? And Massa is known as one of the very fastest players in the game, of course. However, does make a small mistake there, rather. Only loses 1 position, though. Map is a little bit more technical here, so you can see the field being a little bit more spread out. We're going to look back to Revolution here, who's hunting down a 3-man group here of Orel, Spam, and Kappa. Oh, gets a no slide there, does Revel, but manages to initiate it. A little bit of a neo slide there. Nice and quick. Shows the quick reactions. And also, we can hear Pack coming. Also Kappa stumbling and having some issues. Tween also falls down here. That gets Massa back up into second place. That gets Aurel into a podium, and Spam getting himself into some golden positions for some top points. Get himself closer and closer to safety here. Bren still not got himself off the foot of the scoreboard here at the moment, so that's a big, big issue for Bren, as he is already behind in step ranking here at the moment. All of these players go for the respawn route. And then engine killer as we go up the hill here. Kappa gains a little bit more speed than Pack. You can see how he gets himself just a tiny bit closer. At the moment, the fastest lap does belong to Riolu from Nordovan, 1:22.98. So looking strong as Riolu here. Kappa very, very close to Pack here at the moment. Two very, very close rivals, of course, through all of the Gamers assemblies, through the beta season, and of course through the Trackmania World Championship. One of the best tech matches of all time took place. Pack, however, loses a little bit of time here. Puts himself very close to the walls here on each side, though, just doing whatever he can to get himself a little bit closer. Oh, big mistake from Massa. I'm seeing he's dropped from second. He's all the way down in 8th position now. He will still get points from this, but that's a lot of potential dropped. Seeing here Aurel having issues as Spam and Aurel now fill out your podium positions. But look how close the two players are, going for alternate lines here. This will give us a good chance to prepare. See here Spam loses about 0.2 of a second opting for that route, and you can see he just mistimed his slide to the left here. That's going to lose him a lot of speed. You're going to see Kappa catching up, and catching up so much. Speed you lose there is very, very bad, as there's no way to gain speed throughout that section at the very least if you have made a mistake. So problems there for Spam, but certainly not as much as Massa. At least if Massa's failed the identity and finds himself all the way down in 10th position going into the final lap. He does have two players close by that he can catch up on. However, one of them is Scrappy, and Scrappy being a very strong player in his own right. Up at the top here, the battle which is important though is the battle for points, of course. Riolu only in 10 here at the moment. Looking again with Riolu and Aurel getting decent points here. This will get them a good head of steam and some good confidence moving forward. But we're going to check out some of the positions which mean important for a lot of points. We're seeing here Pack for some reason in Cam 3 going through this little transition through the dirt and through the snow. Why is Cap and Cap? I have no idea. Anyway, Pack dropping down a little bit here. There we go. So finds himself in 5th place here, but we've got a freeway battle going for 3rd position here at the moment. Spam, Kappa and Pack here for the final time going through this identity. Spam mistimes it again. He's going to lose a lot of time. He might even have to respawn. Kappa's going to drop down a tiny bit behind. Riolu, however, is going to take this map here. Just no more mistakes. And it goes to Riolu. Aurel 2nd, Pack 3rd, Kappa 4th, Revel 5th, Tween 6th, Massa 7th. Where's Spam? We see Cocow moves up to 8th position, Scrappy 9th, and Spam, look how far he's dropped down. He was in 2nd position and he's all the way down in 13th place. The only person he doesn't lose points to is Papou. What a blunder there for Spam. And that means that Bren, despite against all the odds, does actually finish higher than Spam. So they're still in a very close battle here, and it's fair to say we've got a lot to look forward to in the elimination maps. But I'm seeing a lot of side bets for Papou, so it seems to be the chat's about as good as cursing people as we are, Mr. Holdal.
Yeah, are we surprised? Who should I bet now?
Who should we bet now? No, who should we curse now? That's the best question. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Pack's looking good in this step. I'm gonna say he can carry it forward. The 3 last maps, are they going to be Pack's? I don't know. But also, we got to give our home favourite some love. Massa on 22 points. Not yet out of it, but it gets more difficult and more difficult, it must be said. But we take a little bit of a breather here before we move on to the new maps. So that gives us a little bit of time to go through the order here. So going from bottom to top here, we have Rollin on the bottom, only on 7 points here at the moment. Cocow in 13th position on 9 points here. At 12th with 15. Revo 11th with 18. Papou 10th with 20. Scrappy 9th with 20. Massa 8th 22. Bren 7th 23. 6th Spam 26. 5th Kappa 27. 4th Pack 32. Along with Relu on 32. Tween on 35. And Oserv on 44. And first things first, are you already kind of counting anyone out in your head, Eric? Or do you think there's still pretty much everyone having a chance coming into the most important part of the set?
Well, Cocow and Rollin is already out. It doesn't seem like they're prepared for overall, so those two players should be out, but the rest is more or less in it. Massa sadly made a mistake there. He needed those four. He's still alive, but it's hard. Pack, though, Pack is going to make it, I think.
Yeah, you think Pack's going to make it? Whose scalp do you think he's going to claim? Do you think Spam and Bren are going to be losing out to Pack?
Let's be ballsy. Let's say Kappa, actually.
Oh, Kappa. I'm going to go for, coming into contest diving. I'm going to go for Matt here. Matt, I don't think is out of the fight just yet. However, he really needs to step up his game here as he had a really poor first 3 rounds here. But let me see, guys, in the chat. Don't think you're getting off without some side bets. Give us a shout who you think. But as of the moment, I mean, we've seen some strong performances from Pack here. Oserv also looking very strong here. I guess, I mean, it must be said, I mean, I don't know what you felt about it, but Oserv, I don't really think he started very strongly to Trackmania Grand League. Do you think there was any specific factor which led to Oserv performing better the deeper we got into the season?
Well, I don't think so. He's been on step 5, so I don't know what his reason is, but he has been somewhat good overall. I guess he has been lucky. But as it looks right now, there's a lot of points to be displayed. And like I said, it's only 14 players now, so there will be... And that is helping the players that is behind the top 8, and it's hurting the players that is actually top 8 that was secure. But that Oserv isn't safe. I believe that almost nobody is safe looking at the points at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course, looking at the league rankings at the moment, it's important to remember this is taking into account the points that they already had going... that they have gained so far in this step. This is not the starting ranking, so there is a lot of players who can stand to lose points here. If Spam loses his point, for example, he'll drop down. Bren, you know, all of these players losing points, and they're going to find themselves quite a few positions behind. But I suppose the big comeback is coming from Pack himself. I mean, I was putting the kind of a bit of a fire under the ass of the likes of Revo and Massa here. It looks as if they're getting some good performances in, especially Massa, but it really is all or nothing here. And do you think, what would you think in the players' shoes? Do you think your players like Massa are just going to go hell for leather, 100%, you know, full focus, as Massa likes to say, and just going for it with every race, every round? Or are you going to kind of take a more conservative approach and try and count on everyone else feeling the pressure and making those mistakes? What do you think?
Well, Massa, if you talk about him, he needs to basically win 3 maps in a row here. And then it's more or less mathematically impossible for him to come back. The same with the Pack. If he fails now on map 4, he's out. So it's are all going to be like a map 6 for Pack and for Massa. They need to just be in the top 8. They need to claim a lot of points, and then I don't know, fail it, but they need to basically be on the top. They maybe need to risk it now. It's too late to start safing it on the break on maps.
Yeah, it is the make it or break it time. I mean, this is the very definition of the last chance saloon. Coming into control tower here by Firestorm. And this is the final chance. There is no more chances in the winter season to get yourself to Lyon. This is it. This is where you can lose your points and lose your season. Is all of this hard work which the players have been putting in for the whole season going to go to dust? Or is it going to make these dreams come true of getting yourself a trip to Lyon and competing for some big prize pool? Of course, Trackmania Grand League with a strong investment going into the prize pool department, and we're seeing a lot of numbers, and as a result, that's why you're seeing some of your very top players, of course, coming in and putting in some of the best performances you've seen. Unfortunately, we don't have CarlJr present. I suppose you can't have a best performance conversation without CarlJr. I mean, it must be said, his presence has been sorely missed through the last step or two. As you can see here, the domination has been completely led by other players, or it's been a lot more even. But of course, with CarlJr being missing here at the moment, we do not have all, you know, sorrows and tears. It does open up the door for many other players here. It does open up the door for Aurel and the likes to get themselves some money in the pocket. It opens up the door for likes of Bren and Spam to have really big impact by winning some rounds. And it's the same for Massa, and it's the same for Pack, of course. The ones who really need points, they do not have the strongest competition to face against. They do not have CarlJr to worry about. Of course, the end boss of Trackmania, I think it's fair to say.
But the thing that the players will get, they...
Unfortunately, lost a bit there what Ms. Oldal was saying.
Yeah.
Did you feel free to go ahead there? What was it you're saying?
The seeding after this is also going to MA finals. I don't think my internet is good enough to clarify it, but maybe you can try to clarify that.
Yeah, so basically the seeding phase, so the top 8 that do eventually go into the LAN event themselves, so going to Lyon, they will, their position will still be important as it will seed how they'll face up in the semi-finals, of course. I don't think CarlJr really cares, I think he's just of the attitude that he can pretty much beat anyone, but I suppose a lot of the other players are like that, and maybe some others aren't though. They'll be wanting to avoid your CarlJr, wanting to avoid your Riolu, who's been performing extremely strong here, but we're checking out Massa here as we move on to the control tower. Now, an important point here, things changing up for any who are not familiar with this system. You see there on the left hand side of your screen, the times in green are the ones who will survive and keep their points. The times in red are the ones who are kissing their points and potentially their hopes of a ticket to Lyon. Bye bye. This is the identity here, a big long jump. You want to get yourself in this little letterbox here. Massa just makes it. And then jumping into this right hand side drift here. This is something we're going to see a lot of players making mistakes in. Because you really need to time your throttle control and your braking to perfection to make sure that you net yourself a good jump at the very least into the ending. And unfortunately, Rollin and Cocow already falling at the first hurdle and finding himself very far behind. But one of our big points losers here, we do see Aurel at the moment having a lot of problems in the points department. Yeah, where's the side bets in the chat, guys? Don't let me down. I'm seeing Aurel, I'm seeing Pack here as our side bets. I'm going to go with Riolu here as my side bet, so I'm going to check in with him up at the top, who is currently hunting down Tween and Papou. We also have our French Bren very close behind. Not that there's very many non-French Brens, but still. Pack also in a good position here. This is more like what we expect to see from Pack. This is the 2016 World Champion that we're seeing here at the moment. Having a strong performance here. Now going into the second attempt here. Tween looks fine. Oh, and Riolu had to brake a lot there late on. That means he's going to have an awkward angle going through here. You see Pack and you see Matt getting much closer as a result. Pardon me. And more mistakes coming through here. We see Massa, one of the players, to have a big blunder here. And if Massa does not get himself in the top points, it is going to be impossible for him to qualify for the Grand League playoff stages. Is that an F for Massa, or is this going to be the ultimate comeback? Who knows? We do also see some other big points at risk. We see Spam here. This could potentially doom his hopes of a playoff spot as well, with 26 points up for grab here. 14 seconds behind his Massa. He's going to need a miracle here. We move a slight bit up the order here, actually, pardon me, with Matt and Scrappy fighting very close here. Matt also one of the players who has a potential to get himself close here. He's not yet out of it, however, he's had bad results on the first 3 maps here in this step. And Matt going to be taking us into the identity for the third time here. Matt also one I would be expecting to be more adept at this sort of thing, and Pack makes a big mistake. Is that going to be curtains for Pack as well? He manages to recover a lot better, but Revolution makes a mistake as well, trying to keep up. But now that is Pack and Aurel in the danger zone, and once again, if Pack loses all of his points here, that is going to be bye-bye for the British player. MnM are going to have no representative in the playoffs of Grand League if that is going to be the case. Spam finds himself in the golden hot seat of 8th position here at the moment. Is there so many dreams being crushed? Is this Massa down? He's 27 seconds behind. Pack also finding himself in 10th position here with so little positions up for grabs, or sorry, up for loss, so to speak, in the bottom 8. It is heartbreaking to see some of the players who are looking to try so hard for these top points failing in the fourth map already. We see Matt here, pretty much our last prospect left standing here. 6th position here at the moment, but the problem for Matt is he has his closest opponents, Spam and Bren, in good positions here early on. We are just finishing the first half of this track. Bren makes a massive mistake. He doesn't even reach the letterbox, and Bren's going to fall into the red zone. Aurel's going to get the position, and this could be it for Bren as well. Now Pack is in the golden hot seat, but Matt drops down and Pack gets top 8. Pack's dreams might be saved here, but it is only map 4. There is 2 more opportunities to lose points here. Let's not blow our voice out just yet, but we do have Pack saving himself in the top 8 here. It looks as if it's game over for Massa here, as he is in 14th position here, especially as he gets a nose bug going into the identity. That's going to be it for Massa. Massa is unfortunately not going to be with us going into Lyon, no matter what happens in the last round, but at least he gives us a little bit of show on the way out, does Massa. Showman at heart is our German from Berlin International Gaming, but we will focus on the battles at hand. Bren and Matt, this could potentially be their last chance to get themselves in here. Bren here can only just afford to lose points here. However, if Bren loses points here, he puts it in the hands of Spam. If Spam does not lose points, then he's guaranteed to participate in Lyon. All of the top 7 make it through cleanly. Does Pack make it through cleanly? He does. Matt as well. Bren, slight bit of an issue here. You can see he's lost some speed going through. Tween finds himself far in the lead on the fastest lap, going through into the final lap it is here on a 1:13.5. And we're seeing here quite a big gap going back here. We're seeing a fight here between Kappa and Spam here. If you're in Spam's position and your position is under threat, you're going to have kind of the devil in your ear screaming at you to be safing and just to be taking it nice and easy going through this last section, as the last thing you can afford to do here is having 26 points going down the toilet. But Kappa's putting the pressure on, Papou's putting the pressure on, Aurel is not too far behind here. Going through this little loop here and getting close to the final turn at the identity here. Tween once again rock solid going through the final attempt here. If he gets this cleanly, this is going to be yet another €100 for Tween, and look, he gets himself through the letterbox, no problem. Riolu also, Scrappy, Kappa, Spam, Aurel, Papou. Oh, Pack had to go for the lower one there, but he does make it. Bren is not going to be close enough. That is going to be points lost for Bren. Pack keeps himself safe, but Bren loses it, Matt loses it. Matt's not going to make it to Lyon. Cocow certainly isn't, of course. Revolution, his dreams are over. Rollin, unfortunately, were killed before it even began. And Massa, the home favourite, unfortunately, we will be seeing him no further in the Winter Edition. The Combine awaits for most of these players here, as we'll check out the league ranking here. So everyone under Pack here can no longer qualify, as far as I understand. Take a look. Come on, give us an update. Yeah, so there we go. Pack moving up to 9th position here. Now the thing is, no matter what Pack does here, he needs to count on Spam losing his points here. Everyone below Bren is out. It all comes down to these 3 players. Kappa is pretty much safe. Spam, Pack, and Bren. That is the 3 positions that matter. Matt, Massa, MarciN, Rollin, Revolution, Cocow. They are all secured for the Combine. The question is, who's going to be the last 2 players to join them to fight against Open Grand League? Is it going to be Pack? Is it going to be Bren? Is it going to be Spam? I said Kappa is pretty much safe here. Even if Kappa loses his points, he'll still say about 120. Lap number 5 out of 6 here. We're going to check out Chillshake here. And we're going to actually get ourselves back into the camera here for Chillshake. Apologies for not setting up in the previous map. I do not have a backwards key for some reason. Come on. Here we go. Right, so the identity here, I'll talk you guys through it. So we have a booster here leading into a steering killer, or no grip block, sorry, which is going to mean that going over these little bumps here, you're going to have no grip to keep your car on the straight and narrow, and also an engine killer. So if you lose a lot of speed going through here, you're going to have a very rough time coming through into the end of the multi-lap and through the end of the identity. But Eric, that's so many dreams have been crushed here, and that's quite a lot of our players are now confirmed to be out. What did you think of that?
Well, it's basically now Bren and Pack was a chance. Also, worth mentioning that if a player like Orel, if a player like Tween or Kappa loses all their points, and Pack and Bren, because there is so much points at stake here.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at that, I mean, I think, to be honest, there is only perhaps going to be 1 or maybe even 2 positions up for grabs here, but at the very least, I mean, Spam is definitely the one in the hot seat. He's looking strong, but we've seen Spam look strong all the way up until the end 1 or 2 times before. Do you think he's going to hold strong, or do you think that Spam's had enough of the drama?
Oh, I hope Spam is going to make it. He has been one of the really good. Had some unlucky maps here, so I really hope to see Spam in Lyon.
Yeah, but one thing we are going to definitely keep a lookout for here is going to be the approach of Massa. I'm very curious to know whether Massa, of course, being in a position where he can no longer qualify, is just going to go all or nothing. €100 is up for grabs as a reminder for winning these maps. These players at the bottom, who are already confirmed for the Combine, have the very definition of nothing to lose. Their position, of course, in the overall league table can decide who manages to, or sorry, what points you take into the Combine. But one of the big talking points already, Tween, 57 points. He's won 2 maps already. However, he is 13 seconds behind. That was a big mistake to make already for Tween. We also see Veloce dropping slightly behind here, but not to get too worried, of course. This is only lap number 1 as we fly through these loops here, and Bren makes a mistake. He might not have enough speed to get through this loop. He will, only just. He's been overtaken though, and he loses a lot of time, but we're going to go through this identity for the first time. A Veloce take it, so you see how the car's is much more slippery going through this, but Orel takes it expertly, goes through there, takes a lot of speed, keeps his car away from the walls, and keeps first place by a good margin here. And that is a lovely section by Orel, and smoothly transitions into the underground part. Mistakes already being made though. We see Massa drops down, we see Cocow, Rollin, and also Pack having some trouble early on. Revolution, however, leaks points and finds himself in the bottom 8 once again, and now battling with his compatriot Massa. But Pack, however, finding himself on the hot seat. Again, in Pack's position, you need to be putting the pressure on Spam here. There is no other way. Even if Spam finishes in 8th position and Pack wins the remaining 2 maps, then it's still not going to be enough. Same with Bren. Bren is almost out of it already. If Bren does not get his points, or does not even keep the 5 points of which he's got in the last map, Bren needs essentially a top 2 here at the very least. Or that is game over. Scrappy has a lot of issues going through there. That's going to kill his speed going through there. Scrappy's going to lose a lot of time, and he's going to perhaps potentially lose his points here. Look how far he drops down, even all the way behind some of the other players here. Bren overtakes. That's going to get him a little bit closer to safety here. He does only have 5 points at stake here though. We're going to go into the man of the moment. Spam here, third position, 35 points, 1 second behind the lead. Aurel here, still in the lead. Was the winner of map number 1, I think it was. 107.6, also the fastest lap here. He is currently the points leader, well actually points runner up, just behind Tween here at the moment. 57 for Tween, 51 for Aurel. Kappa now coming into the battle with Spam. We saw this last map, or the map before, pardon me. Halfway through, chill shake. A few of the players on Imagine are quaking and shaking in their boots here as we see Tween with a lot of points up for grabs. Potentially losing Spam. Going to lose some time going through there, and that should be Matt overtaking. And perhaps even Pack or Papou. Pack does actually blow away Papou, his former GamersOrigin teammate, of course. Pack transferred from GamersOrigin to Molotovs and Marshmallows over the break. The beta season. But Matt here is game over for him also, but Spam makes a big mistake. And that's going to be putting him closer to the players of which he's battling against. Pack now overtakes, and that's going to be crucial. Pack needs to keep himself ahead of Spam. Spam getting himself closer and closer to the danger zone here. You have Papou directly behind. Is Spam cracking under the pressure here? We saw he had some issues with the identity. This is 2 of the 3 players of which are going to be battling though. We have Bren 1 place behind. Looks if Tween's made another mistake. As 57 points might be up in the wind. Pack does have the advantage of this battle here at the moment of half a second. Papou putting on the pressure. Oh, Spam! He's shaking! Does he manage to get through? He's going to manage to keep it on the road only just, but he's going to lose a lot of time and Bren's going to get closer. Cocow's not even that far behind either, but Spam just needs to avoid making mistakes. Here goes very wide there. Going to lose a lot of time there. Spam shaking. Needs to get his composure back here. He is a world champion in his own right. But looking up here, we're seeing Pack trying to hunt down this gap of 3 people here at the moment. Tween makes another mistake actually, as pointed out. Thank you very much, Basti. 24 seconds behind this Tween, and it's only getting worse for the Slovakian here. It looks as if his 57 points are going down the toilet, but at least he'll be able to wipe his tears with the 200 euros, with those dollar bills, as they say. Rollin finding himself quite far behind here. Revolution also not even in the same match as everyone else, it seems. Scrappy with his 34 points up for grabs. Cocow having some trouble. Massa back up to 9th position, however. He's going to be wanting to maybe put the heat on some of the players in front. Papou up in 8th. It looks as if Bren, Spam and Pack are safe. Up to Spam here. About 4 seconds safe here at the moment. Pack here. Oh, gets a little bit of a no slide there. Perhaps giving up the chase to Kappa, Riolu and Matt. Aurel here. Look how far Aurel is ahead though. Here Aurel 2, nearly 3 seconds ahead there. Doesn't have the fastest lap, but very close to it. Very consistent though. Look at that average lap of a 107.668. We are coming into the final lap here. Massa does not look to be close enough to challenge those who are in the points. Papou with 28 here at the moment doesn't look to be in danger. Bren here at the moment, chasing down Spam for the final attempt, going through the identity. Oh, Bren, he's shaking, but he'll manage to get through no problem. And the top 8 will be secure. Papou manages to get himself in as well. That's going to be points lost for Scrappy, Revo, Rollin, Cocow and Tween. Nearly 100 points. Actually, just about almost exactly 100 points coming up for grabs. Or being taken by the Grim Reaper of Grand League there, at the very least. But yeah, I mean, that is the penultimate map of the group stage, or well, sorry, this stage at the very least of the Grand League, and that's a little bit of a weird speed gain from Cocow there, it must be said. But the fight is still on, Eric. We're still here. And he's not still here. But anyway, Scrappy with the
You're
fastest
still
lap.
here.
Oh, yeah, he's still here. He's still here. What do you think of this? Do you think we've still got a possibility for some places to change up here?
Pack, Spam, and Bren now, I believe. Maybe Kappa if he fucks it up really hard, but Pack and Bren, or Spam and Bren is the close.
I believe Kappa is now safe, as if he loses all of his 49 points, that'll put him around 105. And I don't think both Bren, Spam, and Pack can overtake him at the same time. Maybe I'm wrong, though. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down to this, Eric. It all comes down to this.
It all comes down to this. It's all now. The coolest head is it Spam or is it Bren?
Yeah, I mean, Pack, Spam, Bren, what can they do? I mean, as I said, if Spam keeps his points here, it's all his. Tween has lost all of his points and he's in 132nd. So Tween is safe. No matter what, Tween is safe. So that's a good thing for Tween fans. But we move on to Sky Euro here. I would say this is one of the easier maps here. You will definitely recognise this identity, unfortunately. We do have a staircase of holes, pretty much. Once again, but nevertheless, it will present the players some difficulty, as you do have an engine killer here. That's the important part for this. You will be going very fast through here, so any sort of attempt you make to brake will be losing you a lot of time on this uphill. So, balls to the wall, as they say. And let's have a look at the players. We'll go follow them for a little bit of a helicopter cam here at the moment. Little underground section coming through here as we go under the map. But, most important thing, the final side bet. The final side bet of the Winter Edition, excluding the playoffs. Who are you taking, Miss Oldal?
I'm taking Spam.
Oh, he's going for Spam. I'm going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to play that role. I'm going to say Pat can win it, and I'm going to say Spam loses his points. Who are you thinking, chat? Let us know who you're supporting, who you're thinking is going to take it. You can see there the players going up through the slalom. Seeing a lot of Rel fans. I think Rel's gained a little bit of a following here throughout his performance in the Grand League. Definitely very well deserving. He's been one of the strongest players in the second half, I would say, so far. But the final map, ladies and gentlemen, it's all came down to this. There is 3 players yet contending for a spot to Lyon. We have 7 players who are confirmed to be part of the Lyon squad at the very least, pending any last minute changes. But we are going to start off, as we have always, with our man Massa here. He might be out of it for the fight for the top 8, but he is never out of it when it comes to the fight for the 100 euros. So, definitely still something to fight for Massa. Papou making an early mistake there. A lot of little tricks which you have to take into account on this map, which some of the players will be able to use to maximise their possible time there. As you can see, the little jumps you go through there, and also going into this underground section. As again, there's so many little places you can gain time on this map, despite it being a little bit easier as you look at it through just a simple eye test. But one of the big names we do see here already in the red. We see Tween down, but that's okay. We see both Spam and Papou early on down at the bottom. However, only half a second behind. Oh, Pat gets a big no slide. That's going to cost him a lot of time, and that's putting him behind Spam here. Absolutely prop up his old friend there. Oh, Revolution makes a big mistake. That's going to allow these players a bit closer to the top. We do also see Rel dropping down, and as Pat gets the better speed through here, he's going to be the one keeping his points. Where's Spam here at the moment? Spam also in the position to keep his points here. However, he has Papou to face off with. Papou, the number 1 in total points. Has been overall the most consistent player, I would say, throughout the Grand League. See here, very close battle between these 3 players. 3 players who were contending for the very top positions in the beta edition. Battle up at the top is certainly no less fierce. Look at this, 1/10 of a second separating Bren, Massa and Kappa here. And it's going to be very important for Bren here, as you take a look in the steps. If Bren gets a really good result here, he can even leapfrog Pack. So if Bren gets a really strong result here and Spam loses his points, then it doesn't matter if Pack keeps his points. Bren can still leapfrog him. So it is still important to consider result at the top here. Matt also looking to throw a Brazilian-sized spanner on the works. And as I say that, he completely dies, as does Massa, both respawning, and that puts a lot of these players closer to safety. Pack up to 5th, Spam up to 4th, and Bren up to 1st position here. So looking good for Bren, 1 second ahead. But the man to have your eyes on here is Spam here at the moment. Probably some of the highest pressure he's faced in his Trackmania career, but he has had a long and storied career. A lot of experience under that head of hair has Spam. Very strong and very consistent player, of course. If anyone can keep their points, it is him. Let's keep an eye out though. Matt in position to lose 15 points, but again, that's not what matters at the moment. Pack, Spam, Bren, these are the only names of which we're listening out for here. Our home favourite's already had to respawn. He's down and out in this round. Finds himself 3 seconds behind here though, so his position can be consequential moving forward. He can knock someone out. This is the final map. We're just about halfway through. The playoffs beckon, but the playoffs beckon for who is the question. Bam, takes a lot of speed going through here. He's going so close to each side, but he keeps it. He keeps it going. He gains a lot of time there. He is not wanting to leave it up to chance. He's wanting to give himself as good a gap as possible, so he can afford to perhaps make some little mistakes there. Gets nearly the fastest lap there, just a tiny bit behind Bren. But look at Bren's consistency. An average lap, 1/10 slower than the best lap overall. Bren, it's safe to say this is this map. And he makes a massive mistake. Bren will have to respawn, and this will put him out of the top 8. Actually, maybe not. Rollin. Very close here. Bren, no. He can almost kiss Lyon goodbye here. The caster's curse strikes in style here. Rel makes a big mistake. But moving back up to our important positions here. Pack in 4th. Spam in 2nd here at the moment. Pack. There is nothing Pack can do at the moment. He needs to keep some good positions here. Or no matter what. Spam, if Spam finishes in the top 8, Spam is through. That's all that matters here. Will he get the identity? No problem. Again, a player of his experience should know that he has a massive gap to 9th position here, and he should know that he will be able to safe it here. But even when he knows he has a little bit of a gap, the hands can start shaking. The nerves can start breaking. See what Spam has in store for us though. Drops down to 4th, only behind Pack though. Again, position does not matter for Spam. It only matters that he's top 8. Pack doing what he can. Gets himself up to the podium position at the very least and drops down. Again, the more people in front of Spam, the better for Pack. And he is not one of them. Neither is Bren. No, Bren has made another mistake. Bren is out of it, it's fair to say. It's all down to Spam here at the moment. The penultimate lap here. The penultimate lap of this stage of the Grand League. Pretty much all your positions are set in stone. Spam going through the identity once again. You can see he's doing it much safer than he was before. However, still very, very close on either side here. And the final lap for Spam. Can he keep it together here? One big mistake and it will be game over for Spam. He has an 8-second, well, about a 10 or 12 second gap here to the bottom 8. But mistakes on this map are brutal. Pack is still in the top 8. So he is in position to capitalise on any mistakes here. Massa takes the fastest lap. Still showing he's got what it takes to really set the pace alight. I'm here. The final time into the underground section. We'll lose a little bit wide there, lose a little bit of time, but these little losses will not matter so much. It's the big losses, it's getting through the identity. Not making any big mistakes so far. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Short slides, coming up into it for the final time. Will Spam survive unscathed, or are we going to see an ending like the playoff stages of the beta season? Can Spam make it through cleanly? He slows down a lot more, he's shaking a little bit, but he makes it through clean. And Spam is going to qualify for Lyon for the Trackmania Grand League playoffs. He is overtaken by Pack in the very last lap, but it will not matter as Pack will not be able to qualify. Too little too late for the Brit, and he will be out of the playoff stages. Our positions are decided, and we see down further Massa and Bren finish up in 11th and 12th, 13th for Matt and 14th for Cocow as he trundles slowly into the finish. Our league rankings will then finish up. Our top 8 will be Papou, Riolu, CarlJr, Aurel, Kappa, Scrappy, Spam and Tween. Our bottom 8 will be Pack, Bren, Matt, Massa, Matt, Cocow, MarciN and Rollin. So there we go. Trackmania Grand League. We have our top 8. And what do you think of that? Did you expect that Spam was going to choke it? I know one guy that didn't. The guy who had the side bet, of all side bets, of course, he bet that Spam would keep it. And he was right. Mr. Oldal, are you satisfied with one side bet at least going right?
Well, I'm happy that Spam made it. He has been performing well on all 6 steps, and it would be feeling somewhat weird if Pack just a playoff spot for someone who has been performing so good. So I'm happy for Spam, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do in Lyon.